So here is our sandbox. Anybody have one of these when you were a kid? People love these. Adults know better because adults are like, really, you want to make me pay for a device that's going to give me more responsibilities? No, that's a trick. I don't want more responsibility. I don't want a little animal to take care of. I already have 7 kids. No desire at all to buy one of these. But they make a really good object-oriented puzzle. So if we go to our Module 14 Sandbox, we have our EPET assignment. And I've given you, I really hope that you will take the time to look at this code and follow it through these descriptions. What I've done here is I've given you a detailed description of every property and every method in this object. I've created the class for you. What I want you to do is implement it. So if you download that file, and here it is, I'll just copy all that. Oof. I'm gonna download it because it did not save my indentations. Nobody wants that. There it is. Okay, so this is the file. You can see it's got an initialization class. You know what that is now. We've got a pet name. It starts out with hunger of 5 and boredom of 5. Okay, you're creating a game where you entertain a pet and feed the pet or else it leaves. It doesn't die because I don't want to be that guy. It just runs away to find some other food. So, but it's your code. You can change it however you want. So we've got a string method defined that returns the pet's name, its hunger, so its current state, basically. We've got a take turn where it lowers the hunger and boredom by a random number. So every time you take a turn, your pet gets more hungry and more bored, just like real life. Yeah, so, and then you can feed the pet or play with the pet. Okay, so all of that class is already defined for you. I also took care of the menus and the adopting the pet. And you can see here, I did the feed the pet thing. So you can see with lots and lots of comments how this is put together. Your challenge, the basic challenge, is to fill in this part of it, the number 3 section where you play with the pet. You can use the feed the pet as a template for that. Now, if you want a greater challenge, the greater challenge here is to add a third thing, maybe hunger, boredom, maybe like loneliness, like your pet is lonely, you need to spend quality time with your pet, or something else. So you add a loneliness score and the ability to impact that score somehow through quality time or cuddling or whatever you do. Anyway, so that is the extra challenge. So that would require you to not only modify the properties up here, but you'd also need to address those changing properties here as you take a turn, and then you would need to define a method where you're incrementing those, you're raising those up through some kind of interaction, and then of course the menu options. So that one's going to be sort of a baby step to a relatively larger step, but like I said, the class is created for you. Rather than just jumping into using that class, what I would highly recommend is spending some time like going through this stuff, because I did a lot of description there. And the idea here is that I'm helping you see what that class looks like as it's implemented and understand how it's put together, so that when we work on this module's assignment, you'll be able to sort of tackle that. And you can see here, we've got other people's work on that you can look at. You can look at their code. That's the whole idea of a sandbox is sharing that information. So take your time. I highly recommend doing the reading. Usually I leave that more up to you, but I think in this case it's actually going to be really helpful. Unless you're familiar with object-oriented principles or you're feeling really good about this, then I say go for it. But if you're not, make sure you take the time to read those things. Okay? So that's it for today. And we will get to the assignment for this module at the end of this week.